$20,000 bed and we placed our bid for $30,000.
So you made about $10,000 off of one bed.
Early November was when we first started. We were awarded our first contract in December. And we decided to reach out to the contracting officer. They remembered us. It's not as complex as it seems. Anyone is able to do it. It's really just about the discipline. I did it in a month. Your story could be even shorter.
We have Shad Perot today with us, a recent government contracting winner. And get ready, this story is amazing. So welcome to the channel.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kizzy. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So talk to us, like, how did you get into government contracting?
So getting into government contracting was something that was kind of the spur of the moment, kind of something that me and my partner, actually, his name is Matt, something that we decided to take on just based off of kind of what we were seeing and the results that we were having from a business that we originally started, which was a cleaning company. So from the cleaning company, we decided that we wanted to get into the commercial space of the cleaning company and figure out really kind of how to attract those clientele, or basically determine which types of clients and what space we wanted to be in. So of course, by doing research, we came across tons of different people who were winning contracts or bidding on commercial properties, teaching you how to bid on those commercial properties. And then I ended up running across a video which actually related to government contracting. And it happened to be one of your videos of somebody who won $1 million contract. And from that point on, we were kind of just like, hey, let's jump into this government contracting space, which was in early November that we decided to take this on. And from that point on, we were just head on.
So you saw the video, you're absorbing all this content, which is amazing. Then you decide, hey, we're going to bid. So, there's people out there that are like, oh, it takes a long time. It may take a year, it may take 2 years. What was the time from, hey, we got our cage code, we bid, and then you won?
So that entire process, we began working on our cage code in, I believe, early November was when we first started. And from that point forward, we were awarded our first contract in the beginning of December. So from November to winning our cage code to then taking this on and winning in December.
Okay, y'all. That's maybe a month. And what did you win? Because you talked about the commercial side, you talked about cleaning. So was this a cleaning contract?
This was not actually a cleaning contract. We did decide to branch out, and because of course, obviously your videos were so informative, we kind of learned, hey, we don't only have to work on those cleaning contracts and work only in that commercial space. This is something we could do remote, and it's something we could do from anywhere. So obviously let's take on whatever we can and let's branch out. Let's see if we could expand. And we decided to work on a supplying contract, basically to supply the government with a bariatric bed. They were working on that, and they were looking for somebody to provide this bed with obviously these specifics that they needed. So me and my friend did our research. We did everything that we could. And this turned out to actually be a sources sought. So originally, obviously, since we didn't know much about the contracting space and we didn't know how to filter it out, we didn't know which way to approach it. So we just saw the first solicitation we were interested in, and we decided to reach out to the contracting officer. We said, hey, we could provide this for you. They said, this is a sources sought. So we're just doing market research now. But I do believe that they remembered us. They remembered our company. They remembered the names that they saw. And from that point on, they decided to post that solicitation, and we were awarded it not even as soon as I believe the contract, the end date for that contract finished up, we were awarded that contract.
Wow, which is phenomenal. Because the thing with sources sought, the government, one of their biggest complaints is, we put the sources sought out, no small businesses responded. And so the fact that you responded, you have this bed, so we all are aware, what kind of bed is this? Is this a $1,000 bed, a $5,000 bed? What was the contract award for this?
No, so this turned out to be a $20,000 bed that we sourced from a subcontractor, a medical supply company that we reached out to. They provided us, they worked with us throughout the entire process, and we actually bid and we placed our bid for this bed for $30,000.
So you made about $10,000 off of one bed.
Just off of one bed. So imagine that would be for 5 beds. you would just simply multiply that by 5, and then you just continue on like that. But of course, I believe it was a great experience, just to kind of show everyone who's in this space that you can make money. And obviously, when you're working on these contracts and you're working on these proposals, that yes, sources sought absolutely do work, and just getting your name out to those contractors was, I think, the biggest step for us. And that was the first step, which was a great step.
Which is amazing. And I commend you so much for that, especially just starting out. And the other great lesson is you weren't like, oh, it's the sources saw, oh, we didn't know what we were doing. No, it turned out in your favor because they were looking for someone like you. They're always looking for a small business because it's easy to give it to a large company, but the government needs to spend that 25%. It's small. From there, what have you been bidding on since that amazing, quick, fast win?
Yeah. So while we were in the entire process of delivering that bed and making sure the project management was in place and the dates were accurate of delivery and everything like that, we were still working on submitting proposals, still working on everything else. And we actually are still, we've kind of built a team behind this on submitting proposals, which we are very excited about. This is something that me and my partner worked on recently, just so we could try to fulfill and try to get on as many proposals as possible, which is what I always recommend to anyone who's in this government space. And that's what you always also recommend as well, which is just to continue submitting, regardless of if you won, if you didn't win, just continue submitting. And of course, it's a pipeline that you're building. So we've been continuously bidding on all types of projects. One thing I wanted to do was kind of focus in, which is some advice that you gave me, which was actually just to continue focusing in on those that I've already won and those contracts that I did win. Similar projects like that, just to try and work on those, which is what we have been doing, but also still continuing to bid on those other projects that are still out, that are still available. So we've really been bidding on just about everything.
Which is great. It's great to bid on a variety, to build out a team, because then that's how you get to $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, $20 million, $50 million when you have, let's say, 10 people doing the work, and you can 1099 the 10 people, give them a cut of the profits, things of that nature. Yeah. I want to go back for a moment because I know people are wondering, how did you pay for the bed?
How did we pay for the bed? So actually what we did, the way that we anticipated everything was me and my partner, me and Matt, basically, we didn't know much about Net 30 and we didn't know much about that entire process. And I believe that a lot of people jumping into this space, obviously it's a great thing to utilize, which is Net 30. But something that we often don't really kind of look at is the fact that some of these companies are brand new. A lot of these companies don't have the established credit, and a lot of the times these companies are looking at your company who's requesting a Net 30, and they're like, what proof do we have that you will pay us back? So one thing that we ended up having to do, which isn't typically the way that I anticipated that we saw that this was going to plan out, but what I ended up doing was earlier this year, I was also running a previous company that I ended up selling. It was an ATM company that I ended up selling for a good healthy amount. And what I ended up doing was using some of that money basically to pay for the bed, which was $20,000. I ended up just sending it over to the company just to make sure that they could get it done without worrying about, hey, are we going to pay this? Are we going to do that? So I ended up just wiring them the full amount. I sent it over. And from that point on, they said, all right, no problem. We'll work on this as soon as we can. They had it delivered early, but in a real world scenario, of course, sometimes that may be hard for individuals, obviously, to come up with the funds, which is understandable. So there's obviously different methods, whether it's asking friends, whether it's asking families, whether it's taking out a loan and doing those things. So for us, fortunately enough, me and Matt, we were able to provide the funds and we sent it over to the subcontracting company and they were able to take care of it for us. But obviously, as you go along this road and you go down this line of building your credit and working on these things for your business, then people see you as more reliable and they see you as more of an asset, and you're able to get that Net 30 offered, and people are able to kind of take care of those for you. And from that point on, it makes life a lot easier. So I just figured this was something we got to do. Let's take care of it now, because of course you can't turn down a contract. So I decided to work on it, and we sent the money over from there, and they took care of it.
No, and I love that, because it's by any means necessary.
Yeah.
And it's great that you did that. And how long did it take them being the government, to pay you? It was delivered, they delivered it early. Did you have to wait 30 days, 40 days, 20 days? How many days, and how were you paid? Just especially for somebody who's really new, how did the money come to you?
We were paid via workflow. So I obviously had to create an account for everything there. I had to set everything up. And I believe the bed was delivered the 6th of January, 6th or 8th, one of those dates. And I believe we received the funds maybe not even 2 weeks later. It was deposited into the account. And from that point on, I just said, hey, this is something I really enjoy. This is something I like. Now, I don't know how other contracts would work or if there are extended time periods for services and things like that. But I know once they receive the products, then you're all set to send in your request.
I love that. I love that. And it's a system, Wide Array Workflow under the Pi platform. It's a system you register for, everyone. It's free, and a lot of pretty much the DoD, Department of Defense, uses it. So it's great that you got in there. They have a great hotline. So I know you're bidding on a variety of items right now, a variety of opportunities. What are some things that you have noticed in this space where you're like, man, we need to do more of this?
Yeah.
What you've taken in.
So typically you see a lot of contracts, whether they're service-based or product-based, and they really kind of go back to similar projects that you might have seen before. So whether that's landscaping, whether that's fencing, whether that is all types of needs realistically, and they kind of cycle and repeat themselves. So what I'm understanding and what I'm seeing from this space is basically the fact that if you're able to work on a proposal and you're able to kind of see that there is a demand for these janitorial services or these contracts that you see aren't getting fulfilled because they keep reposting them. What I want to say is if you're able to kind of understand that market and see it, then spin back and go attempt those and work on those projects that you see aren't being fulfilled. Just based on the fact that if you are seeing them consistently, then it maybe these people aren't bidding on them or nobody's working on those projects. So try to complete those. And the possibility that they'll respond to you and they'll see that you are interested will improve your chances of winning those contracts. So that's one thing I've noticed, which is great.
No, and I love that. And it is. The government, of course, they have their unique things, but there are these particular products, services that they're going to purchase again and again and again, which is great to take notice, especially if they repost it because maybe somebody gave it back, something of that sort. So it's great. And what about things that you're like, man, I wish you stopped doing this? Like people just don't do this anymore. What are those don't do anymore?
That's a great question. Something that I would say don't do anymore is typically there are some proposals and solicitations that we see that are very complex. And there's things that we see that maybe might cause more stress than us to actually learn from these experiences. So one thing I see people doing a lot is working on those projects that have maybe 20 attachments or are in something completely unrelated that they don't understand at all. Now, obviously for me, with the award that we received for that proposal, it wasn't too complex. It wasn't hard to understand. It's very simple. They just need a bed that matches with these specific characteristics. And from that point on, you just basically reach out to those contracting officers. You speak to them, you see what they really need and how they need it. And from that point on, you just work on it like that. But I see a lot of times, a lot of solicitations that are there's 20 attachments. It's impossible to understand. And leave those for the people that do work in that space and that do understand them, and work on something that's more of your speed. There's some solicitations that simply just have a description, not even an attachment. So I believe a lot of the time, those are the easy ones. Those are the simple ones that you could get your feet wet with.
Yeah, you're spot on with that. I mean, there are some where I'm like, oh my goodness, this is insanity when you look, and it can be very overwhelming. And then there are others where it's one attachment, it's no attachment. They'll cut and paste everything into the notice, or it's something on Unison or GPO or another site. So it's such a good move because sometimes they can be complicated. I've submitted proposals for volumes. One of the volumes was $100, 100 pages. It can be a lot, can definitely be a lot. So some may wonder, do you have, besides small business, are there any set-asides that you currently have or you're looking to pursue?
Yeah. Absolutely. So there are, I believe, tons of set-asides that people just of all different walks of life are able to acquire. For us specifically, just based on the knowledge we have as of right now, we just wanted to learn and master the craft of learning how to bid on these proposals, learning how to submit these. So for us, we haven't really been looking too much at set-asides, but I know for a lot of people, that is something that interests them a lot. Now, I believe for a minority-owned business or a woman small-owned business, those are are absolutely possible for all types of people, veteran, disabled. But for us, I believe we would qualify for probably at least 2 or maybe just 1, but I would have to go look at these specifics just to see if everything works out. But as of right now, we were just kind of focused on learning how to master this. And of course, once we get that set aside, obviously it's an addition and it's an add-on that could improve your chances of winning. So, and it kind of sets you aside into a more narrow category or something that's more subject to your needs, or they're looking to provide those contracts to people like you. Yeah. So for us, as of right now, just working on trying to master everything and learn the terminology and all different things like that.
I mean, the keys are learn, apply, adjust. And it's great that you're doing that because many think, I got to get all these certifications or I'm not going to win. You won within 30 days and it's not due to a certification. I mean, you're small business, yes, but it's not, we're automatically a small business, unless you go into it with a company that's making over a certain amount of money on average between 3 and 5 years, or you have like 1,000 employees, which most people don't have. And so I love that. I love that you're in this process of, okay, let's learn the game. Let's fine tune this. Let me train people. So then when you get the certifications, you're like, yes, I'm using them instead of them just collecting dust.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one thing which is great, which is at least utilizing your set aside to improve your chances and not just using it just to say, hey, this is our excuse. We should be winning contracts just because we have this set aside. But of course, it's not something that's mandatory. It's not something you really need, but it's a great addition. And I think you kind of nailed it on the head there. So I agree completely.
And what advice can you offer to the person who's super new? Like maybe they just got a cage code and they're like, I don't even know exactly what to do. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So learning from experience and being able to understand what you're looking at and doing the research, because a lot of the times people really don't want to research, but it's not really that they don't want to research. It's the fact that they believe that the answers should be kind of given to them, or it should be really laid out in front. But what you really got to do sometimes is just go out, put your head down, learn the craft from somebody else who's completed it. Reach out to other people who have completed it, whether it's you, Dr. Kizzy, or whether it's just other people who have been winning contracts, and just working on those and understanding what you have to do. So one person that I really want to thank is Wes. Wes was he was great, and we decided, me and my partner, we decided to take on his challenge, I believe, which was, it was 5 days, and it was just kind of us just putting our head down just to learn proposals, learning what everything looks like. And I believe, of course, you definitely offer that on your YouTube, so people can go check that out. There's YouTube University. Everything is free in this world, so just check it out, see what you can learn, and from that point on, it's that learning curve basically. And once it starts, there's no ending to it. And from there, of course, it speeds up your process. So one thing people mention a lot is having a mentor. Having a mentor is another beneficial way, because that person will help you avoid the mistakes that they made and will increase your speed and your success. So
no, I love that, because it is, you're spot on. Like whether you take a challenge, whether you pay for a mentor, whether you buy a class, whether you use the SBDC, SCORE, SBA, whatever you decide to do, it's learning, speeding up that learning curve and applying and adjusting. Because at the end of the day, we're all entrepreneurs. Google runs their business different than Pepsi. And so the same applies to us. It's whatever your desires are, go forward with it. There's so much information out there. And while some things may change every now and again in government contracting, the fundamentals are still there. If they want a bed, they want a bed.
Absolutely. That's how it is. Absolutely. I agree 100%. Education for me in something that you don't understand is the most valuable thing.
Where do you see yourself with what you're growing in the next 5 years?
Absolutely. So in the next 5 years, just even looking at more of a minimalistic kind of viewpoint is, let's say, considering it a year, I see us growing so much more, me and my partner and the team that we're trying to build here. In the next year, at minimum, I believe, honestly, this is something that as long as you're able to submit proposals, the chances of winning are so much greater. So winning those proposals and scaling this company, or just to build something where we're able to have people who are able to learn under us, and kind of in the next 5 years, what I see is honestly, building something alongside somebody like you, Dr. Kizzy, or somebody else who's in this space and who's mastered it, to kind of create something that's easier, or something that could simplify the entire process of learning this and making sure that the process is understandable for people who are just jumping into this space. So whether it's creating a program, whether it's creating a software, whatever it is, but just that's kind of where I'm looking to take this on, because I believe that there's so many people that don't know about this yet, and it's something that people should learn about, whether it's that they were veterans previously already, or something that this is just something that a lot of people don't know about. So getting people into that space and creating something that they could learn from is kind of our plan, and what we kind of see in the future. So
no, but that's excellent, because there's over $800 billion. So I really can't think of any marketplace that is saturated. Sometimes people think, oh, is there really work for me? Can I really be like him and get a contract? Of course. I mean, look at how many hamburger places there are. There are so many hamburger places. No one's stopping that. Everybody has a new hamburger joint, adding hamburgers to the menu. So if hamburgers aren't oversaturated, and you can make them at home, or if you're vegan, you can make it at home. But but they're everywhere and beyond the main ones, So this is such a beautiful, beautiful space. So Shad, how can people get in contact with you?
So I believe the best way to get in contact with me is, for those that aren't in your GovCon group on Facebook, typically there, I'm always kind of reading what people are posting and reading what people are saying. So just being in that group, my name on that group is Shad Perot. So SHAD, last name is PIERROT. But I'm typically always in your group, which is like a super shout out there. But that's where I think, honestly, you could learn a lot. People are always asking great questions. And if you have a question, of course, I'm there to kind of respond to it. So yeah, that's it. I mean, other than that, honestly, probably in the future, whether I'm working on, let's say, YouTube channel or something like that, that could be in the future. But as of right now, I'm in the Facebook group with everyone else. So I'm just a regular person there when it comes to that. So I'm in the Facebook group. So yeah.
I love it. I love it, because he's been amazing in the Facebook group. It's free. It's a great place to go. And also, there are people in that group who have 10, 20, 30, $40 million a year businesses. There are people in the group who work for large companies. There are people in the group who are contracting officers. They may not post, they may lurk, but there's 11,000 members as of this video. Yeah. There's a lot of people in that group. So I just want to thank you. I can't thank you enough. I'm so proud of you and so proud for you, because you went with it. You could have just been like, nah, I don't want to do this. I sold my business. I'm going to hang out. You could have gone into anything. And you're like, oh, I'm going to do government contracting. And I already know, especially when you build things out, you're going to have a multi-million-dollar business, because it just snowballs.
Yeah.
And ebb and flow, and then you're gonna be like, this is my niche, and then you may say, oh, now this is my niche, and you're just gonna keep building. So I am so excited, and I can't wait to have you back.
Thank you so much. I honestly, one thing that I wanted to say is, everyone who will be watching this video, or everyone in the future who will be working on these projects, it's not as complex as it seems, and anyone is able to do it. It's really just about the discipline and kind of wanting to learn about it. So just knowing that I did it in a month, your story could be even shorter. It might be a little longer, but your results might be better than mine. So what I think is, as long as everyone stays focused and you continue to chase after what you want, then it'll come to you. So I wish everyone the best of luck. I know that everyone can do it. Anything is possible in this world. So just go out and achieve it.
Yes. Oh, I love that. That's such a great way to, that is so cool. And it's true, y'all. It's true. I mean, he did it. So why can't you have next? You're up next. And if you're interested, y'all, got my book, GovCon Winners Way, winnerswaybook.com. Winnerswaybook.com. You get free bonuses if you buy it from winnerswaybook.com. Again, thank you so much for being here. Please reach out. You all are amazing. Hit the notification button, subscribe, and don't forget, everything is possible. Until next time.